Harold is a grown man.
What I like about it,
Zachary Levi.
What I love about the classic children's book Harold and the Purple Crayon is that
despite all my rage, I'm still just a man with a crayon and a blank page. Harold and the Purple Crayon is a 2024 fantasy comedy film starring Zachary Levi. It's based on the 50s children book by Crockett Johnson, and I've never heard of it in my entire life. Was this popular in America or something? This is just like Alvin and the Chipmunks all over again. Why did these film studios do this? At least from what I understand, there has always been a fan base for the Chipmunks. But Harold and the Purple Crayon? Really? It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it? And Jesus, Mary and Joseph, that poster looks absolutely horrifying. Everything he draws is about to get real. That's a scary thought, actually. Imagine if some of the world leaders in history obtained the purple crayon. But anyway, the film's director is Carlos Saldana, who worked with Blue Sky and directed many of their popular movies, so I can kinda see why they got him to do it, but I dunno. Blue Sky wasn't the most groundbreaking company in the world, was it? And with a poster like that and a book series that probably nobody outside of the USA has even heard of, the film bombed, like massively. It's sometimes ridiculous how inept Hollywood is at points. The movie heavily reminded me of the Chipmunks movies and films of similar stature. You know, the 2000s to 2010s live action movies based on children's properties. That was kind of a trend and a bit of a moneymaker at one point, so it's very baffling that they would try and make a movie like this now, to be honest. It should have been released at least 10 years ago, and that's being generous, because if I could describe the movie in one word, it would be dated. The movie is produced by John Davis, and no, it's not John A. Davis who created Jimmy Neutron. So this John Davis is 70 years old, his dad once owned 20th Century Fox, and his mum's a billionaire. It's making sense now, isn't it? It's just out of touch old people with too much money on their hands and they produce crap like this. I bet it doesn't even matter that this movie tanked for these people. That money is probably peanuts to them. And Davis Entertainment is one of the production companies on this, so it all checks out. And I guess this movie hasn't done well for Jimmy Fallon. Toby from Alvin and the Chipmunks. Shazam. Zachary Levi. This guy has been in 2 massive duds recently, hasn't he? I kind of feel bad for him. But I digress. As I've mentioned before, I have a subscription to my local cinema called The Light, and me and my friends see most of the films that get released. And most of the movies, to put it nicely, aren't good. We actually get kind of burnt out sometimes because of how bad a lot of the films are nowadays. And I know we look back at decades or years of film with rose-tinted glasses, but there was plenty of crap coming out back in the old days too. Those movies that sucked have just been forgotten to time. And to be fair, it is a good argument that movies nowadays are worse because a lot of them feel so soulless and corporate. But as you guys know, a bad movie doesn't exactly stop it from being entertaining. The worst type of movie is a boring one. There's no two ways around it. And let me tell you something, guys. This movie sure isn't boring. To tell you the truth, I was not looking forward to this movie at all. But this film is absolutely hilarious for all the wrong reasons. It was one of the best cinema experiences that I've had for the entire year, and I'm sure that my real life friends would agree with that statement. This movie is insane, and it's got the craziness of something like the Cat in the Hat movie. So obviously I wanted to review this movie, and I was counting down the days for this to be released onto video on demand. And finally, on the 27th of August, Sony put the film onto digital download. I was making the Chipmunks video at the time, so I was kind of sad, to be honest. But hey, I enjoyed that video and now I get to enjoy this movie. The movie making so little money could also be due to the fact that it's so similar to If. It's also a live action light-hearted kids movie with CGI magic. So I think people were either burnt out with it or just got confused that this was a different movie. It does feel like one of those fake films after all. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into this shit.
Once there was a boy named Harold who went on an adventure.
Is that Alfred Molina as the narrator? Like Doc Ock? That's strange. So Alfred Molina narrates the story of Harold, who had this magic crayon ever since he was a toddler, and it's not really explained how he even got the crayon. Harold gets into loads of little adventures with this crayon that can draw whatever he wants, and he eventually draws up some friends in the form of a moose and a porcupine. I mean, I've never seen a literal baby be this good at drawing stuff, but here we are. We then flash forward to Harold being an adult, and now he's voiced by Zachary Levi. The moose is the guy from Get Out, and the porcupine is the one from Sex Education. Yeah, pretty weird casting choices if you ask me. And the narrator stops talking to Harold, so it's up to him to go into the real world and find out where he went.
Near, far, near, far, 3 dimensions.
If you guys are sick of this already, this is what it's like for the entire movie. I'm just giving you that warning now. But if not, I hope you're excited. Wait, so when the moose goes into the real world, he turns into a human? How the hell does that work?
It's Harold, finally! Oh!
Get away from me!
Oh, wow. Why would you do that?
Harold, maybe we got the wrong guy.
Jesus Christ, this film never lets up, does it? So while Harold and the moose are terrorising people in the park and drawing a bike for themselves, Porcupine eventually comes into the real world too. And she's a human? And she doesn't even have an animal costume like the moose? How does any of this shit even work? I have so many questions. Harold starts cycling in the freeway and it goes just as well as you would expect.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Why does the kid say it like that? That is the best ADR I've ever heard.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Harold draws a tyre for the lady's car, and she doesn't even question it, like at all. I would have so many questions if this guy that you just ran over randomly produced a purple tyre that also fits your car.
Oh, it's my whistle for Carl.
It's my Dragoligator. He's right there. Huh?
He's part eagle, lion, alligator.
Well, he's licking me, which is a little ticklish. Oh, that tickles.
Look, if I was the kid's mum right now, I'd be very concerned for his safety. The mum introduces her and her kid as Terry and Mal, and the moose literally calls himself Moose.
Moose again.
What the hell? That grown man literally called himself a moose. Please acknowledge that at least. So Terry gives them a lift for some reason, and Harold says that he's looking for his old man, which is also the creator. And he expects that Terry would know where the creator would be. Mal asks if they can stay the night at their house while they try to figure out where the narrator is. And I think the mum finally realises how messed up this whole situation really is.
Oh gosh, that would be so fun, but we don't have room.
What is this acting? Her performance is just so weird. But Mal convinces his mum anyway, and they're allowed to stay.
You're a musician.
I was. I just, when you're young, you have all kinds of dreams, and then...
Aw, I wonder if she ends up being a musician at the end.
What do you do besides that?
Yeah, she is terrible in this. There is no presence or charm at all.
But that was before my dad died.
Yeah, of course the dad died. It wouldn't be a kids film without some shit like that. Harold gives Mal the crayon and we see some of his creations come to life thanks to this subpar CGI in this movie. And I guess the porcupine is in this movie to act weird and pan out the runtime. She never catches up with the other two at the start of the movie. And she just breaks into this rich person's house and steals their food. And again, Terry barely questions how Harold baked all those pies and painted her whole house overnight. If I was her, I'd be calling the insane asylum saying that 2 of their patients have escaped. And we get this shit where Harold tells the truth but Mal doesn't even want to hear it.
Oh no, you need to go to school, and I need to go to work, and these guys gotta go.
For God's sake. Her delivery is just so off. For all the stick I gave Jason Lee, at least he knows how to speak properly. And Harold secretly breaks a bit of his crayon and gives it to Mal. I'm sure that this is gonna end well.
So we gotta respect your mom's rules. No more pie.
Harold, you are a genius.
Don't you just love CGI ice cream? This is peak CGI.
What? Oh man, it's me, it's
Look, there is just way too much shit happening. This is just too chaotic. Again, how is nobody reacting to this? This is ridiculous. And then the skaters join in. I have no words, man. Harold and the gang make it to the library, and we are introduced into the villain called Gary, who is played by Jermaine Clement. You may recognise him as Boris the Animal in Men in Black or Nigel from the Rio franchise. I guess he's in the movie because he knows the director or something. Gary's a fantasy writer and he's annoyed because nobody cares about his crap book.
You don't want a book where people can't even say the title.
You're just like all the others, Yasmin. You don't get it. My world is bigger than Hogwarts and
Rio 2.
And obviously publishers just keep rejecting him.
How is your beautiful mother? Tell her hi from Library Gary.
Maybe you could fly in the air in a little plane and write messages to him in the sky.
You don't know what you've just done, Gary.
Harold and the purple crayon.
He said the line! And then he decides he wants to steal the crayon so he can visualize his book to publishers. This is ridiculous. Is anyone actually human in this movie?
No.
Here we have the best scene in the movie. The plane scene.
Watch out, red light! Look out!
Oh my god, he turned into a moose. Why did that happen? Why is anything happening? And let me tell you, me and my friends were dying with laughter at this point in the cinema. This is one of the best scenes of all time. So get this, Harold puts Terry's phone number in the sky, and a bunch of old people end up calling her. Brilliant. Is she even there in the store? The shot looks that flat that I'm wondering if this shit is just green screen or something. Just look how her entire body is lit, it just looks like she's in a studio. And I think this is an issue for a lot of the movie. Because of the lighting, a lot of the shots in this look, well, shit. It's a similar issue to the new Minecraft movie trailer.
Cheese balls? It's like cheese, but pulpier.
Why do so many kids' films insist on promoting processed, awful junk food? Look, call me a stick in the mud, but look at those numbers, man. That is genuinely one of the most messed up shots I've ever seen in a kids' film. Why did they place the cheese balls, well, there? And why did they focus on it so much?
All right, well, you guys got to get out of here, okay? I'm this close to losing my job.
I'm sorry, I just can't get how bad she is in this film. My god. Because of an incident Mal had in school, Terry has to leave the store and puts Harold and Moose in charge. No sane person would even consider doing this. I don't know why she wouldn't just speak to her manager. Oh, it's because he's actually insane.
Well, maybe we shouldn't take life advice from a person that does crayon magic.
So she admits the magic is real? That just raises so many more questions. That was a bit stupid, Harold, wasn't it? I just have no words. So she doesn't even believe in Harold now. That was a joke earlier? Huh? That acting is so bad I couldn't even tell. And yeah, obviously this gets her fired. But after all this, Terry is still cool with them and Harold draws a piano for her to perform in public. Because remember guys, that was her true passion.
Ah, Harold, what a trail of clues you have left.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was in this movie. Her scenes are just so pointless.
Oh, Terry.
Hi, Gary.
Your music was a golden elixir, and I drank until I was intoxicated.
Did you now?
Haha, well that was awkward. Well, I'll give it to Jermaine Clement, he's clearly having the most fun with this. Gary explains that Harold originates from his children's book, and says his crayon works on pure imagination. Well, that's one way to put it. And Porcupine finally finds them, but then gets body tackled to the ground and the main three get arrested. And no, I'm not making this shit up. I can't even be bothered to explain how they escape. You know it's just gonna be bullshit. Or moose shit, should I say. Harold just did a pog face. That's all that needs to be said. And they also let this probable murderer free too. Nice one, Harold. So Mal gets bullied again. And with the purple crayon piece Harold gave him, he releases this CGI monster onto the school.
Mel, what did you do?
Oh my god, that was insane.
Mel! Hey!
Harold! Moose!
All of these roller coaster scenes just show that this was a movie for babies. Hang on a minute, it's the director, Carlos Saldana. Blue Sky were the biggest culprits of having roller coaster segments in their movies. It all makes sense now. They track down the narrator's real life residence, which is Crockett Johnson's house, and he's the guy who wrote the original book. The lady at the residence explains that Johnson died in the 70s, and now we get the sad manipulative scene with the slow violin music.
I'd be more than happy to give you a tour.
No, that's okay.
Aw, you're supposed to feel sad now. And Mal finds her son and he is in big trouble. And she hates Harold now. What a great second act low point. This is as formulaic as it gets. For a movie so batshit insane, this part of the movie is just so grating. And just look how flat everything looks, man. The lighting is awful. There's just no thought or effort into this. It's just shit. And now Harold doesn't believe anymore and the magic disappears. Oh no!
It was the old man, it was his book, it was his world. I'm just a dumb drawing other dumb drawings.
So is that what we are? Just some dumb drawings?
Oh stop, just stop. Sorry. And you know it's bad when the child actor is acting circles around the mum. So yeah, creepy Nigel is also evil. Who would have thought? Hey, at least he's having fun with it.
Well, I'm glad you like them. You're going to be wearing them for a very long time.
And Mal tries to save the day, but Nigel stops him. But at least Mal gives Shazam the words of advice to get back up. And Mal has the other part of the crayon so they can get away and be fine. And the magic comes back, yay! Maybe Terry finally believes in the magic. Is there even a point to watch The Good, the Bad and the Ugly anymore? This is brilliant. So yeah, there's this big CGI fight scene and you know what? Let's just skip over most of it. Nigel then eats the purple crayon and becomes the character from his book. Where is the police in this? Nigel has actually started a terrorist attack in the park. Nigel is a terrorist. So Moose and Porcupine come back to save the day and they do exactly that. And that somehow makes Nigel lose his power? How does that work? But instead of arresting him like they really should do, Harold draws an alternative universe for Nigel to live in his book world. Arrest him for God's sake.
But I'm seeing someone.
Gondaldemar?
All's well that ends well, I guess. So after this, Harold and the gang visit the author's house again and the lady working there gives Harold a letter.
Dear Harold, in the beginning you were just a boy with a purple crayon and a blank page.
Despite all my rage, I'm just a boy with a crayon and a blank page. But no, the narrator says that Harold was made to show how you can make your life however you want it to be. Wow, how inspiring. When I grow up, I want to be a grown adult trash-talking kids movies. Wait, my dreams came true. Thanks, Harold. So the gang go back to their own world, and Mal gets to keep his imaginary pet. You guys see what happens when you just believe in yourself? So yeah, that was Harold and the Purple Crayon. And to be honest, it should have been animated. The segments at the start were way more promising than the full film. You know, they could have made a semi-decent animated film if it was just an adventure set in the cartoon world. But you know, Hollywood has to do its thing and we get this movie instead. It's a terrible movie, don't get me wrong. But on an enjoyment factor, this one is way up there. It entertained me for all the wrong reasons. And at the end of the day, I just want to be entertained while watching a movie. The worst movies are the boring ones after all. Honestly, if you get a few mates and put this on knowing it's trash, you'll love it. It's absolutely insane. But an actual quality piece of media? I don't think so. Thanks for watching.
It's junk. First class junk.